Hello everyone. I hope everyone is enjoying their week so far and we're staying active and we're continuing to learn every day. Our theme continues to be heroes all around us. And last time we did a video on firemen and their firehouse and a floor plan. And in case anyone forgot what a floor plan looks like, you could pretend to cut off the roof of your house, a school, any place, cut off the roof, and you're flying like a bird. You look down and you see just the top of all of the objects. Here I have the doctor's office because I find that doctors, especially right now, are big heroes to me. So this is what my doctor's office looks like inside. So here's the door. You walk in. We have a cabinet full of supplies, different testings that they might use on you. And then over here I have a long table that has the computer and a sink on it. Next to it I have a chair that maybe one of my parents would sit in or a friend that came with me. And then I have a bed that I will lay on where the doctor will give me a checkup. And here I have a changing room that I can change into and a scale that I can weigh myself on. And last time we worked on finding the perimeter in the area of different objects within the firehouse, but today I want to do that for a doctor's office. So our supply cabinet is 3 inches by 4 inches. Our table with the computer and the sink is 8 inches by 2 inches. Our chair is 4 inches by 3 inches. Our bed is 4 inches by 10 inches. Our changing room is 4 inches by 5 inches. Our scale is 2 inches by 2 inches. And most importantly, our entire doctor's office is 16 inches by 16 inches. And obviously, my doctor's office is not this small, but I had to make it smaller so I could draw it on a piece of paper for you guys. So that's something called scaling that you'll learn about later on. So you can take the opportunity to pause the video now if you would like to write down maybe some of the measurements if you're doing it along with me, and to title one of your papers. We are going to do 2 different measurements, one of area and one of perimeter. So if you want to maybe do 2 sides of a paper or just follow along with me, that's fine too. But I'll give you a second and I'll move a little bit closer so you can see. It would be a good time to pause if you want to write down any measurements. And then over here, we have our perimeter and the object. We're going to find the perimeter of the chair, the changing room, and the doctor's office. So, first, we need to find the chair on our floor plan. I like to think of a floor plan kind of like a map. You know, you've seen treasure hunts or different treasure maps where you can move all around. It might say 5 steps past the bed or 5 steps around the supply cabinet, and it'll bring you different directions. So I like to think of it like a map. So the first thing that we need to find on our floor plan is the chair. Let me know when you see the chair. I see the changing room, the bed. Oh, there's the chair. And can anyone read what, I know it's hard to see, so I'll read it out loud as well, but can anyone read what the dimensions are for the chair? 4 inches by 3 inches. Okay, so maybe it's more of like a little couch that someone can sit in, so it's not going to be a teeny tiny chair. So we need to find the perimeter. Can anyone remember how we find the perimeter? I have no idea, I completely forget, and I need your help. How do I find the perimeter? I'll give you a second to think on that. How do I find the perimeter? Is the perimeter what's inside the box? Is that what I'm trying to measure? Am I trying to see what's inside? Or am I trying to figure out the edges, how big something is on the outside? I am trying to see the perimeter, which is the outside of an object. So a good way to see it is if there are boxes or tiles on the floor, see how many steps it takes to get around one whole box. And that could be like your unit of measurement. We're using 4 inches. So it's 4 inches this way, 3 inches this way, 4 inches this way, 3 inches this way. So, does anyone remember how to find it? kind of just gave you a hint. If I'm counting all the way around, what am I going to do? Am I multiplying my numbers? Subtracting my numbers? No, I'm going to add them. So we have 4 inches and 3 inches for the two sides. The thing about a rectangle is that if you know one side, the side opposite is the same length. So we have 4 inches here, 4 inches here, 3 inches here, and 3 inches there. So we will use P as our variable for perimeter. P equals, and we're going to add the 4 sides together, which are 4 plus 3 plus 4 plus 3. Again, I know we mentioned this last time, but notice our pattern. We switch off because it's a rectangle, and we have the opposite sides should be the same. So we know 4 plus 3 is 7, plus 4 is 11, plus 3 is 14. So our perimeter is 14. So I wrote 14, now I'm all done. I can move on to my changing room, right? No, what did I forget? I hope you wrote it on your paper if you're following along with me. What you always have to do when you're working with math in general, or more specifically measurements, what do you have to include? Your label. And what would the label be for this? If I'm working with inches and I'm finding the distance around something, I'm going to have inches over here. So the perimeter of the chair is 14 inches. Great. Let's look at the changing room. Does anyone see where the changing room is? This is a teeny tiny room, so it might be, I know at my doctor's office we have kind of like a curtain that goes around us. So this could be like a curtain or like a big changing room. In here, it is 4 inches by 5 inches. So we are going to write P as our variable. We're going to add 4 plus 5 plus 4 plus 5. Four plus 5 is 9. 9 plus 4 is 13. 5 plus 13 is 18. Very good. $18 inches. Oh boy. What about the doctor's office? The entire office. Can anyone see how wide or how long our doctor's office is? It's written here and here. It is 16 by 16. So that means each wall is 16 inches long. Pretend. Because it would be much bigger in real life. So to find the perimeter for our doctor's office, we have P equals 16 plus 16 plus 16 plus 16. How do I know that I have enough 16s? How many 16s should I have? 1, 2, 3, 4. I have 4 here. How can I check that I have all of my sides? 1, 2, 3, 4. That's a good way to always check. You should always have 4 numbers if you were dealing with a rectangle. Obviously, that wouldn't be true with something like a triangle because there are only 3 sides. But a good way to check is if you have 1 number for each side. So we have 16 plus 16, which is 32, plus 16 is 48, plus 16 is 64. Does anyone else have a trick of another way that I could multiply that together? 16, if I have 4 copies of 16, what's a quick trick that I could do? I could do 16 times 4 to make my life a little easier. 64 inches. So that means there should be 64 inches all the way around. You could count each inch and you should have 64 of them. So now that we've had a little perimeter review, I would like to move on to our area review. Okay. So, does anyone remember what the difference is between area and perimeter? We know that to find perimeter, we add all the sides together. But how do we find the area? What's the difference? I'll give you a second to think on it. The area is what's inside the object. So to find the area of the bed, we're going to look inside the bed, not around, inside. So it asks us to actually find the area of the bed. Does anyone remember what the equation is for our area? We multiply the length times the width. So to find the bed, we have 4 inches by 10 inches. How can I find the area for the bed? We have A as our variable for area equals, what are my lengths and my widths? For the bed, we have 4 and 10. So very good. I multiply 4 and 10 together. 4 times 10. And that equals 4 times 10 is 40. Great, I have 40. Moving on to the scale. No, don't ever do that. You have to have a label on here. So I know that maybe if someone is skipping ahead, if they see 40, they should know exactly what we're talking about. If anyone skips through the video, they should know exactly what measurements we're talking about. Over on our floor plan, we used inches. So we are going to use the same thing here, but because we are counting all of the little squares inside here, the square inches, we have to write inches squared with a little 2 on top. Now we can move on to the scale. I see our scale down here. We're about to weigh ourselves and see how much we weigh. And it is 2 inches by 2 inches. So we have our area equals 2 times 2, because we have our length times our width. Everybody, what's 2 times 2? 4 inches squared. Very good. Uh-oh. This one is asking for the area of the bed and the scale. How do we do this? How do we find the area of the bed and the scale? I can't just pick this up and put it right next to it and morph it together. How can I do that? What do you guys think? Well, by looking at our work over here, we already know the area of the bed and we already know the area of the scale. So it seems like the easiest thing to do is add them together because we want the bed and the scale. And we know from our keywords to look for and with addition, When we use the word and in a problem, we want addition. So we have the bed and the scale. So I know that the area for A equals, I'm going to use a big B for the area of the bed plus the area of the scale, we're going to use an S. So we want the area of the bed plus the scale. What was the area of the bed? Who remembers? Who remembers the area of the bed? 40 inches squared. What about the scale? How big was the scale? 4 inches. 40 plus 4. Inches squared. Very good. Now it wants us to find the computer and the sink. Does anybody see where the computer and the sink are in our floor plan over here? I noticed that they're on this big table together, and it's asking for the computer and the sink, so it wants this whole table. And there's no line dividing the two, so we can assume that the computer and the sink are on the same table together. So we are just going to measure this whole rectangle right here. So we know that we need to multiply the length times the width. Our length is 8 inches. And our width is 2 inches. Everyone, what is 8 times 2? 16 inches squared. Very good. Well, I hope you guys had fun and you followed along with me and you were able to either mentally do it or just verbally speak out and do it, or you can write it down with me, and I appreciate any work that you guys do. We are going to keep our heroes in mind. We're very lucky to have such amazing people that take care of us and look out for us. I know that my heroes are my parents because I'm not supposed to be home right now, and they are still doing everything that they can to make me feel welcome, cook me a meal every single night, help me with my schoolwork, and they are really making this time a lot easier by being there for me. So I hope that you guys also see some of your relatives or family members as your heroes. And keep that in mind because we're going to do an activity either tomorrow or the next day, and we will explain that later on. But for now, I hope you guys enjoyed my doctor's office floor plan and finding the area and perimeter of different objects. And we will talk to you guys later. Thank you so much.